Yeah, thanks very much for this nice introduction. Populations are aging as life expectancy rises and fertility rates fall. In the United Kingdom, for example, there are now more people over the age of 60 than under the age of 18. With more people at older ages and fewer young people of working age, the promotion of independent living is clearly a social imperative. So the challenge of facilitating independent living is shared by health researchers and those from other disciplines, such as engineering, product design, and architecture. Extending the usability of products and services by considering the capabilities of older people is expected to have a significant impact on their independence. However, this is an area in which designers and other professionals have very little or no personal experience because most of them are young and able-bodied, and they never get to understand older people. The aging phenomenon affects all major regions of the world, including developing countries. Over the next 40 years, the number of people aged 60 years or over is estimated to rise from 760 million to more than 2 billion. In other words, currently 1 in every 10 people is in that age range, and by 2050, 1 in every 5 people will be. Those aged 80 years or over are the fastest growing age group. The so-called oldest old are predicted to more than double over the same time period. The picture here shows me together with a 100-year-old man who participated in my research. People use a range of capabilities when they interact with the designed products and services by which they are surrounded. For example, consider shopping, which requires traveling through a store, lifting objects and reading labels, or cooking, which requires retrieving supplies from shelves, preparing food items, and operating kitchen appliances. Any interaction can be described in terms of the demands that it places on locomotion, that is the ability to move around in the environment, reaching, the ability to stretch out one or both arms, dexterity, the ability to grasp, hold, and manipulate objects, vision, the ability to see objects and differentiate surfaces, hearing, the ability to discriminate sounds from ambient noise, and cognition, the ability to remember instructions and to respond to information. Now, older people experience declines in their capabilities as a result of normal aging, chronic disease, or sudden events such as strokes and falls, which can make an interaction difficult or even impossible. The older man in the picture, he had difficulty going up and down stairs and reaching an overhead shelf. His hand function was relatively well preserved, but sometimes he felt pain in his fingers. He suffered from poor eyesight and hearing loss, and also he had a tendency to forget what he was supposed to be doing. As you can see, many requirements must be considered to address capability losses as people age. For example, assisting strength and balance, avoiding reaching above head level, facilitating the manipulation of controls, improving task lighting, assisting sound localization, supporting learning. The problem with such recommendations is that they say nothing about which capabilities should be addressed first and the potential impact that can be achieved. This would be very helpful to guide designers and deal with conflicting needs. There's a conflict between designing for individuals and designing for populations, because a product or service which suits one person may be unsuitable for another. The aging process is highly variable and will not follow an identical course even in identical twins. However, solutions that meet everyone's needs are not always possible or economically viable. It is unlikely that products and services would ever cater for the capabilities of all users so that there was no need for special adaptation or design. Rather, demands exceeding older people's capabilities should be systematically identified and features redesigned that have the greatest population impact. Let me tell you why this makes sense. The usability of products and services relates to how well they enable people to perform tasks. It is individual in nature and refers to the level of the individual. A necessary precondition for usability is accessibility, which is objective in nature and refers to the level of the population. So before we can extend the usability of products and services, we first have to make sure that they are accessible. Therefore, information is needed about the population. Evidence from a sample of 5,000 older people in Great Britain indicates that the difficulties that these individuals encounter with daily activities, such as preparing a hot meal or shopping for groceries, are due to limitations in their locomotion and reaching abilities. On the other hand, limitations in dexterity, vision, hearing, and cognition only account for around 10% of the difficulties. These results are independent of confounding factors, and they indicate that design changes to avoid bending, standing for long periods, and reaching above head level would have the greatest population impact, which could be achieved by using modular work surfaces, providing seating, and lowering shelves. The picture here shows you an older lady who also participated in my research. She's got sensors attached to her body in order to measure movements during cooking in an objective and detailed manner. Design guidelines for older people recommend that cabinets should not be lower than 30 centimeters from the floor, but as you can see, this is hardly found in residential kitchens, which usually come in a standard design. The cabinets here were only 15 centimeters from the floor. Due to impaired balance recovery in older people, bending down for a low reach can lead to disturbance and faults. There's no standard to evaluate the postures assumed by older people during daily activities, and so I used the standard published by an international organization called ISO. According to the standard, a trunk inclination of more than 60 degrees is completely unacceptable and should never ever happen. The data I obtained for this specific task sequence showed, however, that the woman was bending down by more than 60 degrees for almost 5 seconds when she was retrieving a simple kitchen tool from a lower cabinet. And this is particularly critical given that the standard applies to the adult working population and not older people, for whom lower threshold values may be more applicable because of their changed muscle physiology. Independent living means living a normal life. Older people do not want special products and services. Better design can reduce the need for assistive devices and home modifications, being available at lower cost. Although there's an increasing awareness among designers and other professionals that older people have specific needs, key barriers to designing for them include lack of time, budget, knowledge, and tools. We need to convince designers, engineers, and architects of the value of design for independent living and provide them with the necessary knowledge and tools. Educating policymakers about the potential impact of design changes may help to develop frameworks which create incentives to design products and services with older people in mind. Thank you very much.